Good afternoon, class. I'm German Valdez, and today I'll be talking to you guys about the problems regarding contraband in prisons and how the staff are trained to handle these types of situations. My fellow group members for this project were Torres, Anthony Herbas, and Sandra Sotelo. Throughout the research portion of this project, my fellow groupmates and I took notice that we were having a hard time finding case studies regarding our topic, and I feel a big part of it would have stemmed from there not being many studies taken on contraband in prisons. What is contraband, you may ask? Contraband is a briefer term to describe many items, some being weapons, drugs, as well as permissible items that incarcerated individuals manipulate to be used in a way other than intended. As seen in some of the images, a sharpened toothbrush is common in jails and prisons, and the incarcerated use this as a shank to use against other individuals. Jails, prisons, and correctional facilities have set rules of what incarcerated individuals can or can't do, and alcohol and drug usage is a big no in these facilities. Yet many of these individuals still find a way to make alcohol, as seen on the image, with fruits and different like balloons and all that. And it's a very unique way that they use these items that the prison provides for them, and this would be seen as like misusing the items in another way other than intended. Limiting the amounts of items that the individuals get from commissary is important because it prevents illegal sales inside the jails between inmates. The problem with contraband is that it is coming in many forms, and many of the common forms seen by the corrections officers are phones, drugs, and weapons. Many of these items are concealed on a person, and that person is usually a visitor or an incarcerated individual, and they will be able to conceal the item and hand it to the inmate during their meeting or visit. Corrections facilities are becoming stricter with the book vendors on the fact that many of these small contraband items can fit inside of books and therefore go undetected if a search is not done. While these are some of the smaller ways incarcerated individuals receive contraband, many are becoming more technological and are starting to incorporate the use of drones to deliver the contraband to the jails. The way the staff trains to prevent contraband is very minimal, due to the fact that these corrections officers are relying on metal detectors to prevent contraband from entering the facilities. While the metal detectors might be able to detect shanks, knives, phones, or other metal objects, it does not detect drugs, which should worry many of the correctional officers because drugs are entering facilities undetected. While contraband cell phones are very commonly entering facilities, many of the facilities are implementing managed access systems to block transmissions from the inside to other carrier networks. Many facilities are moving to full-body scanners that will be able to capture items that corrections officers cannot see with the naked eye. While the move to a more technological approach seems intriguing, I feel the best way the corrections officers will stop and detect contraband will be through the use of pat-down searches. Pat-down searches are the most effective because you'll be able to feel the inmate's waistband as well as other areas where they could sneak a weapon or other form of contraband in, and metal detectors and full-body scanners won't be able to detect that. In a process evaluation done by Eric Grumman, he discovered that there were many contraband cell phones that made their way into correctional facilities, and his process evaluation was focused on seeing how many of the facilities would be able to detect. In one study, he found that the number of cell phones confiscated from the state correctional systems has increased by 137% between 2008 and 2010. In the image above, it was showing that the total number of transmissions attempted by contraband cell phones and SIM cards, as seen in the data, we're more commonly seeing 1 to 15 transmissions by contraband phones and SIM cards. While there were low percentages of some contraband cell phones and SIM cards with 1 to 10,000 transmissions, even in this process evaluation, you could see that many transmissions were made between SIM cards, contraband phones, and this should be worrying a lot of people, especially the corrections officers, because many of these cell phones are going undetected into their facility. And even in this evaluation, Groman noted that the technology-assisted means of contraband delivery, and in these cases, he was referring to the use of small drones. And the way they use small drones is because they make a transmission with their contraband phone, and that's how the deliveries are made. And while there hasn't been many drop-offs of contraband, just about a week ago, there was a drone drop-off at the Theo Lacey facility here in Orange County. But the corrections officers were able to recover this drone days later, and the contraband was captured, and the owner of the drone was traced back to live in Costa Mesa. The craziest part is that the person who owned the drone had a criminal past of being in possession of many types of drugs and weapons. While this drone was found days later by corrections officer, there was still plenty of time that an inmate or incarcerated individual could have had an opportunity to retrieve the drugs, and the drone, with it going undetected. Now, it seems through the research that more innovations have helped some prisons and are starting to implement different types of technologies, like drones are now being used to help with surveillance and perimeter monitoring. I believe this is an effective way to provide security because even having the most cameras is not a guarantee that it will catch everything, and using a drone seen from the top would benefit the most. And in the second finding we have by Bear 2018, the cell phone detection canine, that cell phones emit several distinct odors, and that one can train a canine to detect. While this could be another form of hands-on searching, it will definitely play to the corrections officer's advantage because many people are scared of canines. Because they are big dogs, people know that they are trained to smell, to sniff out drugs and many other things, and they almost use it as a scare tactic, which will be played in their advantage. Next, we have an article by Axelrod 2019 that states Louisville Metro Corrections installed a $250,000 body scanner in 2013. The scanner has caught inmates smuggling contraband such as drug paraphernalia and even clean urine for drug tests. When faced with the scanner, some withdraw it, and there are some inmates that have even confessed to hiding an object inside their body. These are some of the innovations that can be implemented into many of our prisons today, and I do believe they can be effective in the fight to prevent contraband from entering any of the correctional facilities. But as technology gets better, some inmates find new ways to smuggle in contraband, and therefore the corrections officers and workers will have to be ready to adjust for any changes over time, as well as our references we used in our presentation. Thank you. As well as right here for more sources. For our images, as